apologize that I don't know it, but if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I skipped over that part.
absolutely. So I'm new. I'm also new teaching in the upper school history. I'm coming from Sandy Springs Friends School.
Mhm.
And so I have a luxury of I only teach juniors, so that will help a little bit in terms of making sense of the schedule. So
Yeah.
I will be teaching the AP US history and one section of all, regular US history.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. Interesting times to.
Yeah. So today I thought what we were going to do is just first focus on using Screencast-O-Matic, primarily as a tool that you can use to either give feedback to students in a very personal way and one that connects them to you and you to them. And then we can also talk about it, if you'd like, with regards to just if you're doing direct instruction. Gary did a great job yesterday. I think he practiced with it. So Gary, if you don't mind, I'm going to just share my screen with everybody. This might be sort of old hat to you, but I think this will be a useful tool. So again, Screencast-O-Matic is a free tool that you can use to screen record. But the unique feature about it that I like is that it also gives you the ability to have your self recorded at the same time. So your face is available on the screen and the students see you as well as hear you and see your facial expressions, which are all really rich for them in terms of, just feeling you more than anything else. So I'm going to share my screen quickly here. And let me close this thing. Let me get to the screencast. So again, there are some other tools available. For example, you could even use your QuickTime recorder that you have on your Mac to do screen recordings. The difference is it does not have the ability to capture you at the same time. You can use iMovie as well, but the problem with iMovie is it's a little bit more, it takes a lot more steps than Screencast-O-Matic. There are a couple other tools out there, but I prefer Screencast, so that's what I'm going to stick with for now. So I'm going to go here. You don't have to pay for it. It is free. You don't even have to sign in. So as you see here, and I'll post these links in Google Classroom so you guys can have them for later easy access. You go to the site, you click Start Recording for free. It's going to take a little bit of a time here. So I'm going to now click Launch Free Recorder. And then I need to open it, obviously. So I'm going to do that. Starting itself up. And then in one moment, it's going to pop up. And what you're going to see is you're going to have the ability to adjust what it's going to capture. So for example, if you just want to focus on one tiny little screen, can you see the little black and white outline?
Yeah.
Around? Okay, so that's what it's going to record. And if you look down in the bottom right, you see me. And so I'm kind of like in a translucent phase there. So that's going to show where I am going to be recorded, but you can move that around. Like I can move it to the top of the screen or over to the other side. I kind of like it being there because I feel like I'm out of the way enough that the students can see what I'm doing on the record part while also seeing me. And then I want you to look over here where you can see all my options over here to the left. So you could see that I could have the option to just record the screen. I could just record myself. And in this case, I'm recording both so that it captures my face. You have a little bit limited options here with the free version in terms of what you can, record. But it's fine because it does what I need it to do. And I invite you to check it out later on your own if you want to. Anyway, so once I decide, yes, everything looks good, you go down to the very bottom here and you have your red button, record. So I'm just going to click that right now. And there's some options here, settings, but you don't really need to change anything. I'm going to click record, and you can see it's counting down. It says go. So now it's recording me, and you can tell if you look down here in the bottom, it's got the time that it's recording. So I'm going to just skip around. For example, let's say I wanted to go to this particular website. This is our website, just scrolling around. At the same time, I want to show you this other cool tool, and we'll come back to it. But let's say I wanted to record something I'm doing on a whiteboard. I can go to Jamboard is one option, but I'm going to show you this tool. It's called AWW Board. It's a free whiteboard tool. It's super cool. It's the next best thing to explain everything. And here, I'm going to put a sticky. This is a I can change the color, I can draw. Okay, I'm going to click stop record now, just by pushing this little blue button here. Okay, once I do that, I can click done. And I have some options. What I typically do is I just do this save and upload, but you can see you've got this quick share and you can edit the video. Normally when you're giving feedback, the whole point of your feedback is to be informal and spontaneous. No need to edit. So I'm just going to click that right now. It's going to take a second to process. Let me just move it over so I can get the whole screen. I can play it back to make sure it's okay. It says go, so now it's recording me and you can tell. Okay, push that stop. Let's say I like it. And now what I do is it's giving me these options here to the right. I can save it as a video file. I can upload it to Screencast-O-Matic, which I never do because I wouldn't save things there. And I can upload it directly to YouTube. I was communicating to Gary about this yesterday because he had some really good questions about, when would you want to just upload it to YouTube versus when would you want to save it as a file? I tend to upload my stuff to YouTube if it's something that I want to share for the whole group. And I don't mind, that it's posted on my website. So for example, let's say you're doing a direct instruction. That's something that you would want to share with everybody. And so if you put it on YouTube, you have some options. If you've ever uploaded to YouTube, you notice that it asks you, do you want it to be public, private, or unlisted? And the difference being, if it's public, obviously anybody can find it, right? Or the link that you send to everybody, they can access it without having to log on. And I typically do because my students are adults, so I just put it public. I don't care if people get to my screen recordings. I doubt anybody's gonna ever search me. And if they do, there's not gonna be anything really exciting for them to, want to download. So I really don't care. But in your case, because you're dealing with students, you might choose the unlisted. And the reason why you would choose unlisted is because the only way somebody's going to get to your YouTube video is if they have the link that you have provided, right? Now, that means that if the student has a link, they could certainly pass it around to somebody else. But again, if you're just doing direct instruction, do you really care if they pass your link around? Probably not. If you do care, you're going to want to choose private. Because if you choose private, then that means that only those that you've invited can access your videos. Okay? So that's sort of in a nutshell, the difference. Now, let me get back to why you would want to choose save as a video file. If you save it as a video file, then that means you get, an actual file that you yourself can upload to Google Drive, for example. And once you put it in Google Drive, you have the ability then to share it out just like you do anything else, right? If you upload any documents or images or what have you, you can get the link and share that with other people. The reason why you might want to do that if you're providing feedback to a student is you might want to keep it just very private between you and the student. And so if you put it in Google Drive, it's not on YouTube, nobody can search your drive. So it just maybe gives you one layer of, I guess, if you will, one layer of protection or privacy. So that's why I might recommend for feedback, maybe put it in Google Drive. It's really going to depend on you. If you've got the younger kids versus the older kids. And also it depends on, what kind of feedback are you giving? Does it really matter? You're going to have to make that decision. Is it sensitive? How are the students going to feel about it? So, that kind of thing. So just trying to give you some food for thought as to when you might choose one form of uploading versus another. Let me go back one step because I wanted to mention another reason for putting a file directly into YouTube. Again, if it is direct instruction, you can create a playlist. So let's say, for example, you have a series of lessons that you're teaching. I don't know, a particular subject matter. Let's say Gary's talking about energy for his science students, and he's maybe going to produce 7 different direct instruction videos. He could upload all of those to YouTube and create a playlist that's about unit on energy. And this way, if a student needs to go back and study for the unit on energy, all the videos are in one nice little playlist. They can go back and access them in a nice organized way. So that's something just for you to consider. In my case, sometimes I create playlists, for just different materials or, quick notes and things like that. So it's really up to you. Or if you wanted to, I guess a playlist, you could think of it as a way to create a folder for certain topics. So kind of think of it in that sense. Does anybody have any questions before I do the upload?
I haven't used YouTube before for something like that, but I did find I made a lot of like how-to videos and posted them to Google Classroom. And if I didn't post them about like the day before, sometimes there were problems in class with students, downloading them or having access to them. On YouTube, does the time kind of, is it like that it would be relatively instantly available to them?
Yeah, so the difference between YouTube and Google Drive, so YouTube, you just click on the link and the video opens up and plays. Whereas if you put it in Google Drive, the student has to open it and then download it sometimes, not all the time. And I can't figure out why. Sometimes I can just play it right on my screen. So that does require one extra step. And in your case, I would suggest if you are doing how-to videos, I would put them in YouTube. Just because, again, you can create a playlist. It's there, it's easy. And every kid is extremely accustomed to using YouTube. Like that's their go-to source, right? So they know how to access it. Now, I will say that depending on how long your video is, sometimes when you're uploading it, it does take a while. So if you've ever noticed that, especially if you have a heavily edited video. But in this case, this is going to go pretty quick because it's short. I think it's a minute or whatever it is. So it'll go pretty quickly. So sometimes, like whenever I've created edited videos in iMovie, if they're long, I'll save them as a video file and I'll save them to my desktop because it takes a really long time to process. And also another reason why you might want to save it as a file, if you're really concerned, like I want to have a backup of this thing. I don't want it to just live in the cloud. I worked really hard on this how-to video. You could think of saving it as a file to your desktop or your hard drive as sort of your backup, right? Because now you've got it in 2 places. You have a hard copy of it, and then you can put it in the cloud. So you might want to think of it in that way.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, because sometimes I do that. In terms of feedback, again, because I'm working with adult students, I don't really, it's not a big deal to me. So I just quickly pop it up there. You know, it's not something I'm going to need to go back to and, you know, create a report card or a narrative or something like that. So I'm not too worried about it, but you guys might have different layers. And also, I guess the way I judge my feedback, if I'm having to give feedback on it, let's say a research paper, typically in that case, I will do written feedback because I need the student to be able to have those really step-by-step, you know, ability to review what I'm saying. If I'm just trying to give some kind of a quick feedback and create that sense of my presence, or if it's something that's, I really need to show them what I'm doing, then I'll use this video feedback. So that's kind of some other ways to think about it. I'm going to go ahead and click upload to YouTube so you can see the process, and we can keep talking. So right now you can see it's going to go to my my Lisa Hassler Waters YouTube account. So you should check that to make sure it's going to the right place. And that's just a matter of whatever you're signed into, that's where it's going to go. So if you're going to do a Flint Hill student, make sure you're in your Flint Hill account. And then you can give a title here. I'll just put test. And you could add descriptions and tags. So here you see I can choose what setting I want. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and do public because, again, I'm going to make this available to everybody. So I'm just going to put public. You know, I don't even know what this just cursor is. Click to choose if the cursor should be displayed with highlighting or not. So that's cool. I never even noticed that. And then you could even do captions. But I think for free, you don't get the caption service. Anyway, we'll click publish here. There it goes. You can see it's publishing. So it's going to take a little bit of a moment here. Anybody have any questions while we're waiting for it to do its publishing?
I wasn't quite noticing. I know when I would do my Zoom recordings and then publish it, upload it to YouTube, it also would ask me a question whether or not it was for kids or not.
Oh yeah, that is a new thing that they have. And the reason is they're trying to, I think you just have extra steps that you have to go through in terms of what you're checking. I think it just offers you some questions.
I always check for kids, and one of the
Yeah.
other reasons is it also filters what the advertisements and the
That's what I
adult
thought,
videos
yeah.
will be.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
even for my high school students, I do for kids.
For kids,
Check
yeah,
for
that's kind of
kids.
what I did too. I thought, so that's what I assumed. I thought it had to do with that.
Yeah, I was going to say I would definitely suggest doing that. It's just added protection. So now you can see it's published, and what I can do is I can just copy the link, or I can open it up and I can go and see what I created. But normally in this case, I would copy the link and then I would send it out to my student. And or if I just wanted to see what it looked like, I could go to upload, open the, I'll do that right now so we can see what it looks like. But yeah, that's a good question, Elizabeth. I would say, yeah, definitely put it. Oh, it's going to be a moment that answers your question. Linda, you were asking about, you know, if it takes a while, but you know, it's usually it's not going to take too long in that case. Do you guys have any other questions? Because I wanted to show you a couple other tools, or we can talk through this some more, or some ideas of how you might use it.
I'm wondering if you saved the video, you know, as a video file, couldn't you later, you know, put it on YouTube?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You could do both.
You can do both. That's what I was suggesting. If you feel like you want to have a backup, or you just can't wait for it to process and upload to YouTube, you can. Sometimes it is faster. It will save as a file faster than doing the upload. And again, for those longer videos that you make, I would definitely recommend that. And then you have that backup, especially if you've worked really hard on a how-to video. You know, you want to make sure that you are able to save your work.
Lisa, I know what I got used to in the spring was using Zoom, like we're just recording a Zoom,
Yeah, like I'm
lecture.
doing right now, right?
Exactly.
Hmm.
And so in that, I could actually annotate, it has the bar where you can click and annotate and things. Does Screencast-O-Matic have that, or is it just recording? I mean, I guess you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is just recording what you're
Okay.
doing on the screen and then your face or what have you, or
Right.
whichever option that you choose.
Okay. Okay.
But
And
you
Elizabeth,
can,
I don't know if you know this, but Flint Hill only uses Meets.
Right. I know I can't use
Mm,
Zoom for classes. I
Right.
could, but I'm assuming I could use it to record something, right? Because it's just a way of recording
yeah,
something.
sure,
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But no, I know I gotta practice Meets. It seems for some reason it seems to me the video quality of Meets is not as good as the Zoom
It's
quality.
not. It's not, especially when you get into multiple people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also don't like how it's not very easy to move around and share your screen like Zoom is.
Yeah, you have
Um,
to take command and
yeah.
and
Yeah.
and they actually corrected some stuff because right after we started using it last spring, everybody complained because we said, well, why can't we just use Zoom? It's easier. And there were
Yeah.
security issues that people were concerned about. So they wrote to Meets, they wrote to Google, and they added the grid view and they added a few other things. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Google was trying to make it better to compete more with Zoom. So
Mhm.
that's on my list of things to practice. But
Yeah, I will say that Zoom has since, remedied a lot of those privacy issues. So
yeah.
I prefer Zoom, but anyways, yeah, it is what it is. Uh, anyways, it looks like it's still processing. So I wanted to just, if you guys don't mind, I wanted to show you. I'm just such a huge proponent of Otter AI, which Linda, you probably haven't heard me talk about it. It's a speech to text tool that you can use. And because we're talking about feedback, providing feedback in a more efficient way, again, I just think it's a really useful tool. So I thought I would share that with you just again quickly. And then I'll share with you that AWW whiteboard tool, and we can talk about anything else you guys want to. So Otter AI is a free speech to text tool, and it's a way for you to give audio feedback to your students, and then have not only your voice, but also the written part. And so I think that's a really powerful way to provide information to students. And another way to use it is I use it sometimes when I am just like stuck on having to write something. Like sometimes it's just hard to get the fingers to the keyboard. And so if I talk it out, then I already have my text, and that's sort of starting my written process. Or if I want to provide instructions and I'm just sort of walking through it, I can just say it, and then I have the text version. So I find it a really useful tool. You can also have the app on your cell phone. And so what I had suggested earlier is that sometimes when I'm recording a how-to video, as I'm recording the video, I have my cell phone right by me with the Otter AI app open. I push record and it starts recording me as I'm doing my discussion. And then at the end, I have my transcript of my how-to video record. And sometimes that can be really helpful for kids or anybody who needs to also be able to read, not just hear and see. So it's just kind of a nice way to provide, another way for people to get information, whether they hear it, see it, and having it in text. So it's a very easy tool to use. Once you're signed in, you just go over here to record. Now I have the free version. The free version is really all I need. It gives me everything I need. Like I said, I've got 600 minutes of a recording I can do. I think, is it per month? I'm not even sure because I never ever get to that point. And it allows me to, if I want to download the text, it comes as a text file. If I were to upgrade, then you have a whole bunch of other options. Like you could get the text as a PDF or a Word doc or Google Doc. But I don't really need it that way because all I do is when I get the text file, I just copy and paste it into Google Docs and then I can edit it. But let me show you what it looks like when I record. So it's super easy. I just go over here. I hit record. It's starting to present the text. And what you're noticing is that it's not doing my and I find that really useful. Now I'm going to click stop. And I can go back over here and see it. Here it is. And what you'll notice up here is it's got a title. So I'm going to edit that title. And then it does these really interesting things where it puts some keywords out there. I think that might be helpful, you know, for some that need to search. The other cool thing is it has these little times here. If you want, you can turn that off. But that's helpful, like if you're going to do screen captioning or something to that effect. And now you can see over here, let me move this screen over. I have the ability to edit. So if it was a really lengthy text, and I'll show you another one, I can go in and add commas and punctuation or, you know, create paragraphs or what have you. And then I can share it out. So I can get this link. And so this is how I give feedback. I record it, I create a link, I have the audio link that I could share. For example, I'll show you what I did, something that I gave some feedback to Margie on. And then I also copied and pasted the text. So I gave Margie the audio as well as the text version. So I'm going to play it back here so you can just hear it. I hit record. It's starting to present the text. And what you're noticing is that, so you see the other cool thing is when your student opens up that link to this audio, they're seeing the text. And for the younger kids, I think this is really handy. It's actually highlighting the word that I'm on. So it's a really cool feature. So let me just go back to one that has a little bit more text so you can see. Let's see if this is my conversations. So these are all my files. Here's one that I did for Margie. And so you can see, you know, it's got all the text here. If I play it.
Margie, yeah, this is definitely what I was thinking that you guys.
And I can go in and edit it, like if I wanted to break this up for her and, you know, maybe put some paragraphs, you know, break it apart because it is a lot of text all at once, but I'm just going to click done for now. And then, like I said, I was able to present the link as well as all this text and give that to her as feedback. And so you could, you know, there's just so many ways that you can use this tool. And because you can put it on an app on your phone, you can, you know, sometimes when I'm thinking about things that I want to do, or, you know, if I'm thinking about, well, what is the how-to video I want to create? I can, if I'm out walking the dog, I have this app and I use it. I just turn it on. Oh, I have a great idea, you know, turn it on and it records my thoughts and then I have the text. Does anybody have any questions about that tool?
Sorry, you went there. Did you say you also use this as a website, or do you only use it on your phone? And then,
I use it both. Yeah, I use it both. I use it on my phone mostly to record. And then I come back and open it on my laptop so I can do the editing because I just need the bigger screen.
Right.
You know,
right.
Kids can do miracles with editing on their phones. I don't have that. I don't have the capacity to see things in such a small screen. So I like using it here. And even sometimes, you know, you're going to find it easier as you're looking at a kid's work. You might have two screens open where you're recording as you're looking at their work. So it's just a really quick way to give feedback and again, capture your tone. And so the student can hear you and then go back and read your text. So I'll just show you, Linda, because you didn't get to see this yesterday. Let me see if I can go into, oh, let me see. I'm trying to remember, Margie, your, I just want to show them the work that I gave you quickly here. Oh, where did I put it? Margie, Marge Parge.
That's right.
I want to just see, I want to show them quickly, you know, where I gave you the test. Was it here? I think it might have been in this
Yeah.
one. Just so she can see what it looks like, because she didn't get to
Yeah.
see it yesterday. I hope it was in this one. If not, I
I
can't.
think it was.
Or
Oh,
was it? Oh no, you know what? It might
no.
have been in your, it might have been in your journal.
Yeah, it was in my journal. You're right. Sorry.
Darn it.
It was.
Okay, you guys talk amongst yourselves while I find Margie's journal.
I can definitely see this being
Here
a
it is.
useful tool. Like when I'd say a lot of my videos are like 10 minutes in length, and they
Mhm.
are like, you know, press this, stand there, you know, jump 3 times. And I could definitely see for certain students it would be helpful to have like the text of the entire thing.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. And you're right, I could be recording, you
Oh,
know,
no,
both
that's
at the
YouTube.
same time.
Yeah, yeah. No, sorry, this is the YouTube one. Darn, Margie, where did I put
Yeah,
that?
keep going down. Isn't this it?
Yeah. It's okay. Let's just do this for the sake of expediency. Let's just say I wanted to comment here for her. I can just highlight it, add my comment. Now I'm going to go back to my Otter.ai, and let me move this up over here. Go back. And I can just get this link right here, go share, create a link, and you can change that setting. Copy the link, go back to her journal, put it right in there. And then the second step is I go over here and I copy.
Margie,
Oh,
yeah, this
sorry.
is definitely.
Just gonna copy all this. Command C, go back over here, Command V, and now she's got both. I push comment and she's got everything there. There it is. So now if she were to open it, if she were to click this link, I'll show you what she would hear or what she would see. There it is. So it goes right to her.
So you didn't necessarily have to copy and paste the text, because when she opens the link, it's there.
That's true. The only reason why I might do that is for the student to have quick reference if they want to come back to this comment.
Right.
The only negative thing, so you might have to remind your students is I think if they click resolve, then it
Yeah.
goes away.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I always tell them don't resolve comments.
Don't resolve. And I wish that Google would make that feature like where you had the ability to turn off that
Yeah,
resolve.
that would be nice.
The other thing is the kids in the, everybody from 7th grade down will only have iPads. The 8th grade, they're debating. So on the iPad, your comments, there's a whole bunch of isms about having comments show up. So for you, Lisa, if you're talking to more middle school and lower school teachers,
Yeah.
I had that issue during the spring where I would comment on my students, you know, in the Google Classroom, and half of them couldn't bring up the comments, and it turned out either their docs was out of date or they had another setting. So
That's good to know, Gary. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
So I guess in that case, then you could just provide that comment directly to them in an email, or if you are using Google Classroom, you know, send it right there.
Yeah, or just, you know, like I plan on spending some time if we're online is actually having everybody do a document. I'm just going to do a quick comment, like here's your comment, and have them go through the motor skills of actually retrieving it just to make sure that, you know, and I'll probably put a quickie recording of this, you know, just, hey, welcome to my class, so they can see what it's going to look like, because comments are really useful on the Google Docs. I mean, that's where I put my rubrics. So, you know, but I really like this Otter.ai. I just, especially for writing comments.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's so nice and easy. And again, you know, sometimes you just need to do quick, and you can think quicker, you know. So I can when I'm thinking through, and then you can go back and edit it, you know. It's another option for you. Let me show you unless anybody has any other questions, I just wanted to go to one other tool that I think is really super cool
I was just gonna say, for using the Google, I asked Lisa yesterday about Chrome I guess it's an extension called Mote, M-O-T-E.
Yeah.
And that is one that you can do this same thing directly. Like you just add it and the kids add it. You can do it directly as a comment. You don't have to take the steps to copy and paste. But the drawback, it's only 60 seconds. So what I was thinking about is maybe using both a little bit, like, because I think if I did a fast, verbal feedback, I could use the mode, but this is longer and has more,
The other thing I would say that I like about it is I have all my stuff right here if I ever want to come back and get things.
Yeah.
And I really like that feature. And I can even create folders to organize stuff. Like maybe I have a feedback folder or unit one or what have you. So I feel like
you could actually record a standard feedback if you wanted.
That's absolutely right.
Like one that you use a lot. That's actually, I hadn't thought about
that's
that.
absolutely right. Yeah. Speaking of recording, I don't know if you guys are familiar that Google Slides now has the ability, we can do it really quick, to now directly audio record in Google Slide. And the reason why I like that is because it's a great way to provide instruction if you have kids, if you're using Google Slides and say you're using Google Slides as a template for them to do some work. They can easily, access the Google Slides. I'll just show you what it looks like on the, let's see, do I have it here?
And while you're selecting that, one of the things I tried to do with my upper school is they do their own presentations. I don't think Google Slides, like Keynote, they can't go back and do an audio presentation over all the slides. You know what I mean? Like while it plays.
Yeah.
And we've written to Google about it, and they're like, well, tough nuts. It's not happening right now.
Yeah.
Or Keynote, the kids can flash through their slides and talk through 5 slides, and when they press play, it just plays with their voices on it. So that's.
Yeah, I will say also, Gary, though, that if you are using Google Slides, even on the iPad, they can do a screen recording. So they could do it that way. If they're on the iPad and they're using Google Slides, they can screen record the iPad as they're narrating through. Or you could have them bring the Google Slides in to explain everything, and they can record it that way, though that's extra steps.
Yeah, they're really creative that way.
Yeah.
But the younger kids are. The upper kids don't tend to use the iPads.
Right, yeah. So again, if you're in Google Slides, you can see that I've got my recording here. And you could play that, but just to do it, you go insert, super easy, audio. And that's not what I want. Why is it not letting me record? Let's come back to that, because now I'm feeling like, what did I do?
Maybe because you've already recorded on that slide. Can you?
I did already record, but I don't know why that's.
No, but so maybe you can only do it on one per slide.
I don't think so. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to have to take that all back. I think what I ended up doing is I know what I did. I did an audio recording in QuickTime and then put that QuickTime into my Google Drive, and that's what that is. That's exactly what that is. So if you haven't ever used QuickTime, it's super easy. There's my QuickTime. And you go File, New Audio Recording. I can just push this and it's recording. Here we go. We're recording. I click stop and I get a file. And then I could save that, upload it. That's exactly what I did. So I was mistaken there. You're not actually recording in the Google Slides. You're actually able to upload an audio file and drop it in there. And that's new. But that's still pretty handy. Let's go to this whiteboard. And let me just show you what this tool is. The only bummer thing is that your free version, you have these lame ads on the bottom. So that is what bothers me, but there are some pretty good deals, I think, for educators. It's a little bit less expensive. I can't remember what the cost is per month. It's comparable to Jamboard, but I think it's actually a little bit better than Jamboard because Jamboard is more, it doesn't have as many features. And this one you can, share it with others. Well, you can do that also with Jamboard. But what I find this one is it's very similar to Explain Everything in some of the features. So I think for kids, they might recognize it because you have this ability to, add extra slides down here. You have shapes that, you can do something like this. You can add some text. So it's really quite similar to Explain Everything. This is the sticky note or the Post-it note. So, if you're having kids post some, I'm sorry, that was
I was just thinking that it reminds me of Explain Everything.
Mm-hmm. And, you can move things around. So if you wanted to have kids connecting things or adding Post-it notes, it's just a nice drawing tool. And then you have some options here to draw. You can draw arrows. So this is like if you wanted to have kids connecting ideas, you could have them, this connects to this, or they can do it as a line. So it's a pretty cool tool, and then you can save it, you can export it. There's some other features over here. If you want to do the full screen, if you want to shrink the screen, you can also do this. Like if you're doing a mind map, you can have this mini map appear, and it kind of shows you where you're at or what you've already put as far as tools. So I think it's something to consider if you want to think about that as a whiteboard tool, even if you're just doing a screen share.
Will this show up on the iPad as an app?
That is a good question.
The reason I ask is, Lisa, many of us got into the mode of when we're in meets, we also join the meets with our iPads. And I would do all my notes and drawing on the iPad on Explain Everything. And I could still see my class. So I could still, see if a kid has a question, they could raise their hand. But I could see also that I'm presenting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could see both at the same time and export it. So that would be handy if I could use this. It's a pretty cool tool.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a great question. And unfortunately, I don't have an iPad anymore. Mine died and I haven't gotten a new one. So I think you might try it, test it out. And I'll put that link, I'll make that link available. And so let me just show you Jamboard. If you haven't used that, Jamboard is Google's answer to a whiteboard. And the cool thing is it's Google. So it marries up with all things Google. We can go to this one here that I was just playing around with. And Jamboard also has the ability to add these different, you could add more frames, but again, it has some of those similar tools. You have a pen that you can use. You can choose different colors. You can use a highlighter. You can use a paintbrush. So you have some different options there. I must have it on transparency. I'm not sure why it's so light. Oh, no, it's not on highlighter. I don't have to think about that. Here's the eraser. You can go back and erase different pieces. So it's a little bit similar, but it doesn't have, you see, it doesn't have as many features as that AAW whiteboard. You can add images. This is kind of fun. It's, the kids always love these laser pointers. It just appears after a while. You can add a background. You can clear the frame. So for example, the backgrounds, if you're doing stuff with math, you can use a grid. Or if you're helping kids, write, I'm thinking of Margie doing handwriting, you can use lines.
It looks like you can upload either an image or could you upload a document or something on that, or
that's a sticky note. So that's a sticky note. Let me go to the image. I think you can. No, well, this is just for images.
Select
So
a file. It says select a file. I wonder if Google Drive. Okay, I can play with that. I'll
yeah,
see.
let's see if we go to Google Drive. Let's just choose something. Yeah, it's the only thing when you have, oh, I don't have anything there. It's the only
Image.
thing when it's so, oh, here, let's just go to recent.
It looks like it's just looking for, oh, yeah, it looks like it's
Let's
looking
try
for
it.
images only.
That was an image though, I think, so.
Yeah, because it looks
Yeah.
like it's looking, it looks like just, okay, that's fine. Thank you anyway.
Yeah.
You can just take your document and make a PDF out of it.
Yeah, I guess you could, well, but that's not an image either.
Oh, it's not taken as an image? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
see, it is, you're right, because look at it's looking for all these PNGs.
Or a screenshot. Yeah, you can always take a
Screenshot would
screenshot.
work.
Yeah, you could do screenshot. But I wonder, let me see if you go to background.
That's what I was thinking
No.
too. You
No,
can't put a
background
picture.
is just
Yeah,
literally.
yeah, okay, all right.
Anyways, but that's a good idea. Just, or you could export, you know, a document as a PNG or a JPEG.
Ricky Weeks shared that one of the good things about this, even though you can only have 20 slides, if you have, let's say, 10 kids in your class, everybody can have a slide and you can share it, right? It can be like a Google Doc that you're sharing.
Yeah, right.
Everybody can work on it at the same time, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then you can flip slides because everybody's doing it.
Right. And maybe sometimes it's better to have limited tools if you don't want the kids, you know, to get so lost in all the different tools. So that might be one reason to use it. And then it gets saved to your Google Drive, so it's easy for you to capture. So I guess that's probably a good use of the tool. I just wanted to show you the two different whiteboards.
And I had a question on the Jamboard. So on an iPad, you could actually be using your stylus to be drawing and stuff. Is that, yeah, that would be.
You know,
handy.
and again, I haven't tried it on the iPad, so that is a great question. That would be something to look at and see if it works. Because sometimes some of the Google stuff doesn't play nicely on iPads just because, I don't know, it's an Apple Google thing, I'm sure. They're out to outdo each other. So I think you'd have to play around with it, Linda.
Thank you.
And see if it works. But also you have Explain Everything, and Explain Everything is, you know, far superior.
He grabbed his iPad. He's going to try it.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. So the thing about Explain Everything is from what I recall, you guys also have a subscription to the collaborative version of it, which means you could have kids working together on a collaborative Explain Everything. But I don't know if that means they can do it simultaneously, or are they just sharing, you know, it's almost like sharing a Google Doc, but I'm not sure. So that's something to think about. But in your case, Linda, I would imagine that Explain Everything would be, you know, really an important tool for your kids to use, because it does have so many more tools that you can use. And there are some other drawing tools out there. I can't think of the name of them off the top of my head that are really elaborate that you can use on the iPad. So I'm sure that you could ask the TIS guys, they could probably help you find a really good digital drawing tool out there.
So Jamboard on the iPad, you can use your pen, just so you know.
Oh, cool. Okay. That's awesome. Does it look just like this, Gary, for the most part?
Yeah, it's identical, but your iPad pen's a lot easier to use.
Oh, yeah.
So like I bring up pictures and I like using the pen for the laser and drawing stuff on it.
Yeah. And I think that's great if you're doing it, you know, recording how to do something or getting the kids to add things to it. Is there anything else you guys want to look at, or any other questions that you might have on things that we've covered?
I don't think so, Gary. Do you?
No, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Excellent. Great.
I gotta play around with it.
Yeah. Now it's just a matter of playing with things and seeing how they work and uploading and downloading and thinking.
So the only thing I did email with you was the Screencast-O-Matic. Was I tried to use the app on the MacBook Air, and it didn't really work. I downloaded the app, and when you launched it, it would come up for like one potato and then disappear.
Oh,
Whereas
okay.
the website seems to work all the time. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't use the app which goes on your dock. Right now, it doesn't
Yeah.
seem good.
Yeah, and I never have used that. And everything I do is mainly in the cloud anyways, so it's fine, you know. And again, I you know, I think it's just easy. I have it bookmarked, and it's just easy for me to use. So anyways, okay, well, guys, if you don't have any other questions, we can sign off. And if there's anything else you think of or questions, just shoot me an email. And, you know, if there's other tools you want to look at later on, we can do that too. Like if you want to venture down the Padlet, Flipgrid, VoiceThread tools, we can also do a session on those as well.
Lisa, I'll try and send you that roadmap
Oh,
right
yes.
now.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Linda, it was great seeing you. And you know,
Yeah.
if you want to connect again, happy to do that.
Sorry, I realized I was muted. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Yeah, I do have some very specific questions. So I think I'll, yeah, see if we could meet a little one-on-one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, guys, have a good rest of
Lisa,
your week.
thanks for getting up so early for us.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm up
So
early
early.
anyways. So,
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.